Shalom everybody and welcome to Regah Bivrit. This season we are in Shorashim edition, and in the book of Shemot specifically we are looking at the commentary of the Holy Al-Sheikh from Tzfat, one of our greatest commentators on the Pshat, Remez, Midrash and Sod. I hope you continue to hit share and like, and remember to subscribe to our channels and turn on the notification. This way you will know every time that we get a new lesson available for you. This Shabbat we are in Parashat Vaéra. Very interesting passage to start the parasha. In chapter 6 verse 2 and 3 it says, Vayedaber Elohim el Moshe Vayomer elav ani Adonai. And then he continued in verse 3, Vaéra el Avraham, el Yitzchak, el Yaakov, be'el Shaddai, ushmi Adonai lo nodati lahem. These are very strange verses. God speak to Moses. He said to him, I am Adonai. And then he said, you know, the way I'm about to appear to you is a different way from the way that I have appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who I appeal to as El Shaddai. Well, what is the meaning behind that? I see sometimes online people use the name Elohim in certain ways inappropriately, and today we're going to really understand it from the Bible, why God has different names and when it's appropriate to use which name. Now, the Midrash on Exodus chapter 6 verse 6 quoted and tell us that Moshe Rabbeinu was afraid, and the Al-Sheikh explained, he said Moshe was afraid that the Jewish people would not merit to be redeemed from Egypt, and God therefore swore to him he would indeed redeem them. Why was Moshe afraid? Well, we going to look at why was Moshe afraid according to the Al-Sheikh, because he said when Moshe saw that his speaking to Pharaoh had made things worse for the Jewish people, he thought that God's original promise to redeem them was a function of his midat harachamim, the weight of mercy, which is being aroused. But that this very arousal had caused a corresponding arousal in the midat adin of judgment. Perhaps the deed of the Jewish people has consequently been carefully weighted and examined, and the midah had concluded that they were unworthy of being redeemed. Now, we have to understand that each name of God is related to another midah of God. Well, what is a midah? Midah is a character. It's an attribute of his character. And at the beginning of the text here, he says, Vayedaber Elohim el Moshe. You notice what God called? He called Elohim. Listen to what the Holy Al-Sheikh saying about the name Elohim. He says, God now replied to Moshe concern. Since Moses had been challenged God, he started by speaking to Moshe somewhat harshly. I am Elohim. Elohim, attribute of judgment. But listen to how God concluded the verse. He says, but God then continued with a softer tone, as the verse says, Vayomer elav ani Adonai. I am Yod He Vav He, the name that we do not pronounce, Hashem. This phrase, Hashem, Yod He Vav He, always related to the attribute of mercy. You see, this phrase, according to Al-Sheikh, reassured Moses that he feel that the midat harachamim, the attribute of mercy, has been transformed into midat hadin. It's unfounded. It's not necessary to think about it. You see, Moses was thinking that God is going to judge everybody, including the Hebrew slaves. But when he said, I am Adonai who sent you, I am still acting with the midah of compassion. And that's something that we all have to remember, especially now in our world. Yes, God is a judge and he's judging, but even inside his judgment, he still operated with other midot. And one of the midot that he's operating in, his ultimate midah, is compassion. He is a still compassionate God. And Moses had to understand it. The increased suffering being felt by the Jewish people is for their own good, to hasten their redemption, just like today, that the hastening, the redemption is coming through suffering. They will not need to endure the entire 400 years of exile foretold by Abraham, for the intensity of the suffering in exile can reduce this duration, according to the Holy Al-Shich. Now listen to the conclusion, because he told him, well, I appeal to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as El Shaddai. Well, what does that mean? God continued, with regard to your accusation that the guardian angel of Egypt and the negative influence of the Mazalot, meaning the demonic forces, have not been subdued, there is also no need for concern, God said to Moses. I appeared to the forefathers in El Shaddai, indicating that I will destroy, from the Hebrew word Shaddad. Shaddai is from the word Shaddad, meaning to rob or to take in force. All those who stand in my way, and when I promised the patriarchs to bestow good upon their offspring, it was with this name. Therefore, you should have no doubt that I will indeed obliterate both the guardian angel in Egypt and any negative influence of satanic forces. What a promise it is for us today. He is El Shaddai, and he is a judge, but he is also Yod He Vav He. He operates in mercy. He will continue to operate in mercy. Remember, when you use the word Elohim, do not use it in any positive way, because it's always an attribute of judgment. Adonai, Hashem, is mercy. Mercy is always going to meet judgment right in the middle. God bless you. This is the Regah Bivrit for this week. Shabbat Shalom.